can build a good VGC Draft League team? Well, I've got 5 pairs of Pokemon that when put together make an unstoppable force. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Pokemon Draft Challenger League Code Red team reveal for the main event. I am Miss Mag, your coach and host of the main event. Welcome on in. But first, what are Pokemon Draft Leagues? If you've ever heard of fantasy football or baseball, it follows a similar kind of thinking. Pokemon are recruited to various teams, and then those teams wage battle over the course of a season, usually about 6 weeks. Best finishes during the regular season then go on to playoffs until a champion is crowned. Every league has their own set rules and regulations as to which format you will be playing under, if you choose to participate. Once you've drafted your team of Pokemon, usually about to 12, and you've received your schedule, you'll be free to start preparing for battle. Here's a sample schedule for the league that I'll be discussing in this video, the PDCL, the Pokemon Draft Challenger League. You simply find your name and your opponent for the corresponding week, and then reach out to start scheduling a time to play. It is important that you give yourself as much time as you need to feel comfortable to prep and play. Do not feel rushed by an opponent simply because they have a more restrictive schedule. But what is the PDCL? The PDCL is a league run by Dan, aka Stout Gaming. Go check him out on YouTube, he makes great draft league content. And is essentially a summer league qualifier to their invite-only main league, which is known as the PDPL, the Pokemon Draft Premier League. In an effort to seek out the creme de la crop, this PDCL league was broken down into essentially 2 smaller leagues, referred to as legs, and I am currently about to start the final leg, which is called Code Red. Yes, there is a Mountain Dew theme. Not quite sure why that's the case, but that's PDCL history for you. The coach roster is stacked full of excellent players, so y'all will get some great battling content. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe while you're at it. With all these basics covered though, about what draft leagues are and the specifically that I'm competing in, why don't we talk about what you guys are actually probably really here for? Y'all want to see what I actually drafted and what kind of craziness I'm up to this time. Alright, so draft format actually is what's called snake style. So it starts with the first assigned coach and it goes all the way down to the last assigned coach. In this case, it was a 16-person draft. So it'll go from first coach down to the 16th coach. Every coach picks 1 Pokemon at a time until they get to number 16. 16 gets 2 picks because then it will go back all the way up towards 1. So I actually was the 16th coach in line, lucky me. So I got to pick 2 Pokemon every single time it was my turn. So all of my picks will be in pairs, and with a budget of 500 points per coach, let's see what I started with, shall we? In comes Dondozo Tatsugiri, everybody's favorite pairing in drafts, and probably in the regular circuit as well. If you're a regular at playing competitive, then you'll recognize this devious duo of fishy fiends. If you're not a regular or don't play Pokemon at all, I'll just say that these 2 together are really freaking good. I have never gotten a chance to play with either of them before, so I couldn't pass up this opportunity at all. Best part, not even necessarily a package deal. They can do plenty of great things independently of each other, but when they are combined, Dondozo gets a 2 times boost to all of its stat values, except for hit points, and that's just god tier in a lot of people's opinions. But independently, Dondozo by itself is a very bulky mon, still has very respectable attacking stats, and Tatsugiri has a very high base special attack stat, so they are quite a force to be reckoned with, whether they're together or apart. But, you know, we all about pairs down here at Pick 16, so this is definitely going to be the tag team of the century for me. After drafting everybody's favorite duo of fish, what could I possibly add to this team to make it any better? Here comes my round 2 pairings. Enter Thundurus Therian and Zoric Hisui. What's better than 1 Tatsugiri and Dondozo? How about 2 Tatsugiris and Dondozo? I get to pick one of my favorite Pokemon. I am a huge Zoroark fan. Master of the Now You See It, Now You Don't technique, Zoric's special ability Illusion allows itself to disguise itself as one of my Pokemon based on the order in which I select them, which can make for some very painful mind games on lead. To pair with it, I've actually chosen Thunderous Therian, and this genie's 3 wishes are destruction, destruction, and more destruction. It's tied for the highest base special attack in the format at 145. It's gonna just blow holes in you if you just let it sit there and allow it to. So we picked up some real heavy hitters and sly safety net type of support mons with this next pick. All the better to keep our fish safe from unruly foes. Alright, well, by this point in the draft, I was noticing certain Pokemon typings to be leaving the board very quickly. Specifically, Steel types, Fairy types, and Ground types were all kind of getting a little scarce, and those are some of the more fundamental typings that you need on your squads because of the various capabilities that they can do. Fairy and Steel are very good defensive typings. So I had to make a pretty big judgment call on how this draft was going to go in terms of budgeting points. So here are my round 3 picks. Enter Grimmsnarl and Fortress. I'll tell you one thing that people know about Grimmsnarl, whether you play Pokemon or not, this thing's a nightmare. I mean, just look at it. It is literally the stuff of legend and horror at that. But it's got the tools to be a valuable asset to this team. Everything from damage mitigation, damage augmentation, dual screens, fake tears. It can do everything. And on top of that, it is still an offensive threat in its own right with a very high base attack stat. I believe it is 120. So Grimmsnarl is definitely going to be like the glue to hold my fishy friends and my sly foxes and my genies together so far. So we stand Grimmsnarl. Yes, we do. To pair with that, I grabbed a nice low-budget Steel type in the name of Fortress. Candidate from Gen 2, hashtag Johto Supremacy. Fortress is a bug and Steel type Pokemon, which only grants it 1 weakness to the Fire type. And it's reasonably priced. 15 points for a very high defensive tank. I call that a steal. And it also gets some very good damage mitigating moves such as Struggle Bug, which will further help my team survive special attacks. And it can also do a bunch of fun other stuff as well, but y'all gonna have to figure that one out the hard way. Alright, well, what could possibly make this team any better? I'm on like cloud 9 right now. Of course, during the actual draft, I was really sweating trying to figure out how to put the pieces of this team together because I'm just like, oh man, I need this. Can I get this now? Can I wait? Like, there's 15 other people in this draft. Like, if I wait, it might not be there. But nevertheless, here are the next 2 Pokemon that I chose when it came back around to me. Presenting Flamigo and Sir Clodsire. Can't lie, I've never really been a fan of Flamigo. I don't really love Flamingos either. Fun fact. But Flamigo offers such a unique role to this team because it has a unique ability called Co-Star. So when Flamigo switches into battle using Co-Star, it gets to copy all of my partner Pokemon's stat changes. That does include any boosts, and that includes any drops. So if a Dondozo that just happened to have a Tatsugiri inside of it, and that Tatsugiri just happened to die, and Flamigo just happened to switch in and copy 2 times all of its stats, you can see how this can get out of control pretty quickly. Independent of Co-Star, Flamigo also has another ability called Scrappy, which allows its normal and fighting type moves to ignore ghost immunities. That is very helpful to me personally because I only have 1 dark type on the team. So far it's just Grimmsnarl. So it's great to have another way to hit ghosts that don't require me to compromise very little. As a bonus, Scrappy also blocks Intimidate. So Flamigo's close combats and other fighting type stabs, as well as its flying type stabs, will be hitting real hard without too much penalty. And then there's Clodsire. At this point, I needed a Groundmon. Like, there really was no choice. I get a Groundmon here, or I don't get one. And ground types are great. They're immune to electric attacks, and electric attacks are very, very strong, and they don't have that many resistances in the first place. So I picked up the little Clodsire. Also, he's so cute. Like, look at that face, man. He's so cute. But interestingly enough, even though this is not the most offensive ground type there is, it offers an added amount of bulk to this team that previously only Dondozo was having. So I like the fact that I get like a balance of, I get the typing I want, I get a little bit of offense, and I get a little bit of support all in the one cute mon. Alright, coming down the home stretch here, we already got 8 mons drafted. Minimum number of Pokemon needed to be on the team is 10, so we have 2 more picks and we'll be right there. So let's get into our round 5 pairing. Alright, so get fired up for Pyroar and Quilladin. So Pyroar is an old favorite of mine. I think I've drafted it previously this generation about 4 different times. It is just such a nice low budget fire type, and it's also part normal, so it offers a unique typing. You get the fire offense, you get a relatively high special attack. It's not terrible, and you get all these like nice support moves. There's Yawn, there's Will-O-Wisp, lots of fun stuff down there, and a really good speed tier. This truly is the queen of the jungle, and you have to be ready for Pyroar because she'll blow you up if you're not careful about it. And of course, to pair with that, we got our grass type finally, little Quilladin. Recommendation from a good buddy of mine, Matrix. He's part of the WDC. Go check him out as well. He makes great draft content. But he's always been telling me to draft Quilladin because he thinks Chestnut, its final evolution, is a little overrated. So we're picking up the little Quilladin. For 5 points, it offers a lot of support and bulk. And that is exactly what I really need out of a grass type, honestly. We got things like Super Fang to help chip down really sturdy opponents by taking away half their hit points every turn. Got Wide Guard. Lots of fun stuff in a little Quilladin. So I'm excited to see how well it'll perform. Alright, well, you might have noticed we had 1 extra spot on the roster. We had 5 points after we picked up our last 2 pairings from round 5. So I decided to go shopping for some value picks in the lowest tier. And I found one. I found a pretty good one, actually, if I do say so myself. Enter Little Hatram. I was looking for a Trick Room setter, honestly, for a large majority of the draft, and I could not find one that stayed on the board anyway, long enough, that I was really like digging. So I decided to look into the 5-point tiers, and I found Little Hatterem, which has a big hat and an even bigger smile. But one of my favorite things about Hatterem, Magic Bounce. Magic Bounce allows it to reflect certain status moves back at the opponent, so things like your Fake Tears, your Parting Shots. Well, actually, Parting Shot's unique, but you can figure that one out. Your Fake Tears, your Parting Shots, your Thunder Waves, everything for the most part gets reflected back at the opponent, and they get to suffer the weight of their own status moves. Since a lot of people will be bringing lots of wild tech to defeat Dondozo Tatsugiri, especially when it's boosted, I thought this little Hatterem was a great addition to the team just to dissuade people from just freely spamming status moves to get around our big fish. Alright, this is the overview of the whole team, including the points breakdown for each Pokemon on your left. And on your right, you'll see the different speed tiers for how fast everything is on my team. If you made it this far into the video, tell me down in the comments, what's your favorite Pokemon that I've drafted? Let me hear it. If you got love for Dondozo, don't be shy, throw it down in the comments. If you hate Dondozo, you can throw that hate down in the comments as well. Let me hear you tell me about my team. What do you like? What don't you like? Let me know in the comments section below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic Draft League content. Alright, this is a more thorough breakdown of my team. On the top row, you'll see the abilities of all of my Pokemon. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see some of the moves that my Pokemon are capable of using. In the middle right, you'll see the stat breakdown. Every stat's broken down for you. Currently, they're still sorted by speed. You'll even see the average stats on the bottom. And then at the bottom left, you'll see the type chart, which indicates my team's matchup into the various 18 types of Pokemon. I'm actually quite happy overall with how this team came together. For someone who has never drafted many of these Pokemon before, I think except for Pyroar, I don't think I've actually drafted any of these Pokemon before. Oh, actually, I did draft Grimmsnarl once for a very short time. But yeah, everything else is pretty new to me. And I had Quilladin for like a week or two in a different league. But barring those three aside, like everything else is pretty new to me. So I'm like super excited to try something new and yeah, just have fun with it really. As far as the type chart is concerned, you'll notice that there are some green squares, some gray squares, and some red squares. So red squares indicate areas where the number of weaknesses is greater than the number of resists I have to a given type. So as you'll see that I am red square on ice, so I have more ice weak mons than I do have ice resists. It's not by very much, it's actually only by 1, but it still counts for the purposes of the grid. Conversely, the green squares is where I have more resists to a given type than mons that I am weak to. As you might see, looking at the fire type symbol, I only have 2 Pokemon that are weak to fire on the whole team, but I have 3 fire resists in the Dondozo, Tatsugiri, and the Pyroar. So that square is green. Gray squares are where it is actually even. So if you look at the far end of the type chart, where the little pink fairy symbol is, I have 3 mons that are weak to fairy in Tatsugiri, Grimmsnarl, and Flamigo. But I also have 3 Pokemon that resist fairy in Clodsire, Fortress, and Pyroar. So it neutralizes out, so it will be a gray square. Alright, just a general message to my opponents before I end this video, since I've been portraying myself as the season's raid boss by drafting Dondozo Tatsugiri. I wish all of you luck and fun, and I look forward to all of the crazy techs and good battles coming my way. But remember, your fate is in your hands. You'll either sink or you'll swim. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to a few folks who were extremely helpful during the draft process, as drafting this Dondozo Tatsugiri archetype was not exactly easy for me. So first thing I want to do, I want to thank the people at the WDC, the Werelord draft community. That's Matrix, Pat Mac, Brave, all those guys over there. Done. I appreciate all of y'all for supporting me and keeping me well entertained during the draft, as well as just helping me go through potential picks. I want to also shout out Mr. Snowbell, Blizzards himself, Pedons, for really helping me with some potential combos for the team, going through the list and actually giving me a lot of solid backup options, several of which I will keep in my back pocket for future drafts this generation. So shout out to you, you are the man. And of course, not last but not least, I want to shout out my friends at MGM, my Miss Mag's Gaming Mansion, for their input, their moral support, and of course, all the jokes that they were telling me while I was drafting. I love all of y'all. Absolutely. Can't wait to show you what I'm going to do with this squad. And with that being said, that's the end of the video, you know? Don't forget, again, like, subscribe, comment down below. Like, it really helps out my channel a lot. It's showing me that y'all love this kind of stuff. Show me that love in the comments. But if you've made it this far into the video, shout me out down below with hashtag the main event, just because that's what you finished watching. This is Miss Mag here, signing off. Cheers.